I didn't grow up with a lot of emotional safety. I was a sensitive boy, an only child in a world that didn't really know what to do with that. I learned that being soft didn't get you protected, it got you stepped on. With my stepbrothers, I learned that being accepted meant you had to fight. And with friends, it meant I had to be funny, entertaining, adaptable. But no matter where I went, I couldn't be myself. So when it came to relationships, like finding a partner, I was looking for the one thing I never really had, someone who chose me just for being me. No performance, no competition, just being seen and still being wanted. During the peak of my drinking days, nobody but my mentor saw the way the darkness would creep out after the party was gone. The blacked out meltdowns, the night I tried to hang myself, the night I asked him to push me out of a hotel window in Vegas, the nights I tore apart my room, all of them had to stem from being rejected. None of these people knew how badly I wanted to just be seen. I didn't want anything else from them. I just wanted to be seen. The void would always stay open. And eventually, in 2016, late 2016, I found somebody who partied just as hard as I did. We became a couple. We weren't good for each other. It wasn't her fault, it wasn't my fault. It was our fault collectively. We became mirrors for each other's brokenness. The insecurities that I once disguised as jokes weren't funny anymore. Every time I drank, it was just like, it was getting sad at this point in 2017. And there was one night in particular that set everything into motion. It was a night where I punched glass in the middle of a party.
So the glass situation, when the alcohol consumption led to an argument with his ex-girlfriend.
I don't remember what it was we were arguing about.
Me and I want to say like 5 other of our, like, especially close friends, we were all in the room, in another room, and the door was closed and we could hear, we're like, oh, they fight all the fucking time. This is stupid.
But I remember her being in my face and just yelling at me uncontrollably. I wanted her to get out of my face. So I grabbed her by the shoulders and I moved her away. I did not shove her.
There was something that was said. I don't know what it was.
So she started saying, oh, look, you hit me. You hit me. Look, everyone. Marco just put his hands on a girl. He hit me.
We all got up and we went to the hallway, and that's when we saw that people were in between them two. She was yelling from one side, he was yelling from the other side. And then me and a couple other people were like, come on, like, I forgot how or what was said, but we kind of like got Marco to go away. It's like she got, I think, pushed into the bathroom or moved to the bathroom. And then we took Marco and we went towards the back set of stairs. And at this point, Marco was pissed.
In that moment, all of these memories of Marco being worthless, like, just surrounded me. When all those repressed thoughts where I was being told that I was something that I wasn't. I just wanted to escape those thoughts.
I think I was walking in front of him, like, come on, let's just go this way, like, take him to the back. Someone else was behind him. We're walking, and then we get to these, like, they were like phone booths.
Phone booths where it looked like a little mini room, basically. And it had a small, skinny mirrors or windows.
And I saw my reflection in this phone booth that we had.
You know, Marco was never a violent guy, still is not a violent guy.
With all that hate I had in my heart for myself, I just threw my fucking fist straight for the glass. I'm not gonna lie, I was aiming for the wall, but I broke the glass instantly.
Out of anger, he socked the glass, and
I remember seeing him like actually punching the glass. I remember hearing the glass break.
I was right there to see this happen, and when he pulled his arm back, you could see blood. And not only did you see blood, but you saw blood squirting out of his arm.
Well, legit, like, squirt out.
He just kind of stuck. Like, he doesn't even know what just happened. And obviously, I think that this dude just ripped an artery, and this guy's gonna fucking bleed out.
This dude hit a vein. He's gonna die. Who has a towel? And we're like, grab your arm. He just grabbed it, and we wrapped a towel around him. And the thing that was pissing me off was I think I kicked Marco at one point during this, because he was just walking casually, and he was like, it's fine or something like that. He was just more mad about his ex than anything. And we're like, Marco, fucking move, like, go. I was like shoving him from behind. I'm like, walk faster, like, get to the fucking car. Because again, in my mind, I'm thinking like, he hit a vein, he only has enough time before he bleeds out type of deal. They finally got him in the car. Some people took him to the hospital.
I remember waking up and I was alone. There was nobody there. But Lewis picked me up from the hospital, and the gravity of the situation just hadn't hit me yet. And I was just thinking, again, damn, Another night of Marco doing something dumb, huh? But 2 days later, at the fraternity house where I'm still living at this time, we had our usual Monday meetings. Towards the end of the meeting, we do this thing where we go around and everyone who's at the meeting, they say something quick and they indicate how they're proud to be a part of the fraternity. And right as I got the opportunity to speak, everybody went silent. Like nobody was even looking at me. It was just quiet. That's when it hit me. That silence was confirmation. It was over. It was over for me.
Really shitty situation because we all knew that he was kind of going through it at the time.
Decompression feels a lot like that. After writing, after recording, beat selection, after all the distractions and tasks are stripped away, you're left alone with everything you ran from. Everything that, all the noise. There's no beat to protect you, no lyrics to shape the pain into something prettier. There's just truth. There's just silence, and it punches harder than I ever could. In those moments, I don't just remember the pain, I feel it. All of it, the loneliness, the rejection, the nights begging someone to understand me, to see me, the nights begging someone to end me. Decompression isn't healing, right? It's bleeding in slow motion. It's the part where I finally let myself grieve the boy who spent so long trying to be enough for people who never really saw him. It's the part where I finally let him and his thoughts and that hatred in his heart, let it all go.
Getting into the Greek life, it was a lot different. There's a lot more partying and things like that. We never really, we had a glimpse of that in Tracy, but nothing to that scale.
I just like to point out that like Marco didn't really like party at all in high school, and then he got to college and partied a fuck ton and literally kind of just got devoured in this college drinking environment.
I don't even know where to start. I feel like darkness, negativity weighing very heavily on me. To be specific, like talking about like suicidal thoughts throughout this album, or like just suicidal ideation in general, like has me very it just like put me in a very dark place. I went to 3 weddings this week, or I went to 3 weddings in 1 week. In all 3 weddings, my alcoholism affected me, and I'm sober. The first wedding, a very long-time friend couldn't look me in the face. I reached out and I apologized, and they did not respond. I feel more sadness than I do anger. I feel more like sadness and like emptiness than I do hatred or anger or pain. But I guess pain isn't always hatred, right? Pain isn't always angry. Pain doesn't manifest like that. Pain can manifest as sadness. And the second wedding I happened to be a part of, and luckily this person forgave me. But even then, like there was someone there that I had either bothered or rubbed the wrong way. I didn't beg for forgiveness, but I did ask for it, and luckily they forgave me. I feel like there's no hope and stuff like that, and I know that that's not the case because I have a great life. But this last one, probably where like a majority of the people who were around when I was drinking the most, they were there, and they couldn't look me in my face. They couldn't be in the same area as me. They sat right next to me and sat in silence, getting on their phone, wishing they were somewhere else. People who couldn't say hello, even at somebody's wedding. Nearly 7 years removed from the last time I had a drink.
Especially since we were in a fraternity, kind of longing for that acceptance, only to realize that it's a dog-eat-dog world out there.
Marco felt that he needed to gain acceptance since we were in a frat, and he felt like he didn't like belong in there, being Mexican, a big white frat. No one was racist. I'm just gonna put it out. It wasn't like a race thing, but it was out of like the element. Like you didn't see as much Mexican people in it, and on top of that, it was more so. I think he knew that him getting in was close, so he obviously didn't feel like, oh, that I barely got in, so like I kind of need to prove myself. I need to like get them to like me or gain the acceptance or something of that nature.
People only really associate themselves with who they think they should associate themselves with.
As an adult, I can tell you that I have to own those mistakes, even though I don't remember any of them. Or when I decompress from an album, it's about letting go of the thoughts from that time when I was, whatever time period we're talking about. So in this time period, we're talking about the kind of guy who drank all the time to escape his problems, his internal problems.
Marco, as a brother, pertained to the fraternity.
He was a very good brother in the sense that like
always somebody that you can talk to, somebody that you can actually share what's going on in your life.
What was said in the fraternity, he kind of took it to heart. He did have like an open door policy.
I know it wasn't just with me. He was like that with everybody. So
he really enjoyed, the brotherhood, and the brotherhood meant a lot to him.
He did put a lot of the fraternity above himself and above like others.
Being able to have real conversations rather than the bullshit fanatics of college.
Aside from him like just always making jokes and like making himself the butt of the joke and not having the self-respect, I think he was like a very, very good brother. So if it was a good fraternity brother, why he had trouble fitting in, it was mainly because I believe it was more so his personality, how he put himself down, and he didn't have as much self-respect. So he was just a funny guy and nothing else. And I think when it shows that you don't have self-respect, why would anybody else respect you? Him trying to build bonds with other people, like, it was just funny. He was just a funny guy. He was a guy that you made jokes about.
The moments where he was trying to fit in and, drinking being this most specific thing, the way he acted in those moments, whether it was actually funny or if it was just going too far because he didn't even know what he was doing, just too intoxicated. So, not knowing what he was doing at that moment and figuring out the next day, people are going to think, oh, this is kind of weird, or this is a little off.
Since it's such a big house and there's like different views everywhere, like you did have little groups throughout the house. It's like, why would I hang out with Marco and is he just going to make a joke about himself, nothing else? So he just didn't feel like he could go from one group to another group to another group and hang out with the entirety of the house. So that's why he felt like he didn't fit in.
And, a harsh reality when it comes to fraternity life is that there could be up to 100 members in the fraternity, and not everybody's going to be your brother in the sense where like they're your super close friend.
You treat me like a fucking monster, and I don't know what I did. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying that I'm willing to be wrong, and you're not willing to talk to me about it. How is that fair? And fuck, if you don't care about fair, why do you want the same thing? I keep getting told a phone works two ways. Then why does mine only ever appear to be the one that works?
I think that's where he would kind of see where people stood on, if they were with him or if they were not with him, on, either looking out for him or, oh wait, he did something weird or he said something weird, so I'm gonna, take myself away from him, rather than figuring out, okay, what's going on, so, because, if you know Marco, how he was when he was drinking, it's just not how he is in person, so.
It was very obvious that I was going through some shit. If you couldn't tell by me almost drinking myself to fucking death or punching glass, I was the one who fucking needed help. I was. And luckily we had brothers who helped me out, because I'd be fucking dead right now if that wasn't the case.
My experience with Marco in college was a positive one. We had our ups and downs, we had our disagreements, but at the end of the day, I feel like I knew Marco's heart well enough to know that he had no ill intent, and that I was able to see past and see through the facade that he sometimes put up, and saw him for the person that he was, not the person that he was trying to be.
You guys hold me to these standards, these memories. The standards are okay, but the memories, I have no fucking memory of them. And I keep asking people, what did I do? And everyone just says, bro, all you did was drink too much. You overthink. How can I overthink when I'm in the fucking room with people who've known me for more than half a decade and they can't even fucking say hi to me? How can I do that?
If people just took a few minutes to see what Marco was doing and what he was going through, that they would have saw that, there's nothing weird, or like all the ways that people felt about Marco after making, bad decisions or whatever, they could have easily just talked to him and figured out like what was going on in his life at that time. And it honestly would have explained a lot. There's a lot of pressure in those times.
It's a fucking miracle that I was even able to break this cycle to begin with. The pain I feel in my chest from having to be 7 years removed from having a single drop of alcohol, and people still treat me like I'm that same fucking guy.
I think there is a big misconception, and I think that a lot of his friends reflect who August is now on who he was in the past, and I think that that's sad. I
see the effects of alcohol every day, every single day of my life. You guys have no fucking idea what I go through and what I've been through. Oh, he's a creep. He's a weirdo. He's sensitive. I'm hurt. I'm human. I'd be the best person I could possibly be. And then the only thing I ever get was, oh, he drank too much. Yes, I was that person. I was that drunk idiot. I was that guy who couldn't control his drinking and made a fucking fool of himself. Yes, I was the person who punched glass. Yes, I was the person who creeped out chicks. Yes, I was the person who pushed away my closest friends. Yes, I did all those things. And I'm sorry. I live my life remorseful. I live my life trying to better myself. But at the end of the day, I can't force people to accept my apology. But luckily for me, I don't do things so people can accept my apology. I do things to try to warn other people, don't be like me.
Anyone ever stop to ask why? Why do I drink so fucking much?
People didn't understand why he was making certain decisions, why he started, I don't know how to explain it, but just making certain decisions that, they didn't understand what was going on in his life.
I can't cry. I'm out of fucking tears. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't hurt. And I don't hate anybody. I don't hate any of you. I don't want any of you to fail. But I think it's very cowardly to say, I don't talk to him because of this thing he did in 2016. This tone that you're hearing right now is decompression. It's not hatred. It's just shit I gotta get off my chest.
It's my own fault. I put myself in the situation to write this album, or write an album in general, and that this is the mode that I get in.
Not getting a clear answer on why you're being left out feels really shitty. When Marco feels that he's left out, there are clear points that give him those ideas and those thoughts. I think dwelling on that turns into loneliness.
When I hear my closest friends talk about this time and back in this day and this time, I don't remember any of it. None. I remember very select memories. The things that you guys see now, the memories I do have, were either major events or things that had pictures, videos, and I'm like, oh, okay, I recollect, I remember. And I can't tell if that's because I was either too fucked up, I'm repressing it, or both. So my music, my lyrics, when you guys think I do it for attention, I do this shit for therapy. It's therapeutic to tap into the same mind space of whatever time period I'm talking about.
I feel like my mission is not to be the best rapper on the planet. My mission is not to be the greatest artist to ever walk the earth. My mission, my purpose is to win on behalf of good but flawed people. I am a flawed human being. I'm not perfect. I'm not special, but I need to win for everybody out there like me, because people out there like me feel what I feel.
This right now that you're seeing, it's raw. And for a long time, I couldn't decompress. I was like, man, there's something missing. And it wasn't until after these weddings where I said to myself, okay, I feel it now. And the final thing that got me through is having to watch somebody I love struggle because of their choices made with alcohol, their dependency, their addiction to it. And that fucking hurts. So forgive me if I'm a little pissed off, if I'm a little too serious, if I'm a little too distant.
I can't let these people win. If I give up, they win. I got to go out there and just be honest and be true, because one day I'm going to inspire people to do the same thing. Be honest and be true. And then they're going to inspire people, and they're going to inspire people. And we're no longer going to live in a world where we feel like we have to fucking lie in order to make something of ourselves. Maybe it's a childish dream and maybe I fail, but I don't want to live a life where I don't try. Me saying all that shit right there made me feel much better about what I got going on. At this point, I feel like I can let this point in my life go.
I feel like Marco's motivation in college was his family. I feel like he always wanted to set his family up to be successful and have the things that they didn't have before. And after he had his family straight, it was his friends. I know he wanted to set his friends up, and I know he wanted to do right by, them and treat them well and show them once I'm eating, everybody's eating. And I think that was Marco's main motivation when it came to making his music, when it came to getting his diploma, when it came to just being there for people.
Same pressure that he put on himself with, taking care of his family, he put that pressure on himself with everything else.
Do I let myself go? Do I just say fuck it and give up? Or do I push through when it's hard? Do I push through when times get difficult? I don't feel like going to the gym and I have to go. I don't feel like hitting the booth and I have to record. I don't feel like doing these things. But what's gonna win? Evil or good? Good has to win. If you're out there struggling with any kind of alcoholic, or not even just alcohol, just any kind of addiction, man, don't let it win. It might not win today. You might win a couple battles here and there, but it will win the war if you give in day after day, every day. And I can't let it win. Not the war. I refuse.
July 2023 marked a major turning point in my life. From the day I got sober in 2018 up until early 2022, I was letting myself go physically, mentally, spiritually. I had gained more weight than I ever had in my life by the time March 2022 rolled around, but I didn't notice it until then. And that's when I made a decision, March 2022, to change, to lose the weight, sharpen my mind, and sharpen my spirit. And by July 2023, I was finally starting to see the results, not just in my body, but in my discipline, my mindset, and my focus. I was working harder than I'd ever worked before at that point. And music returned in a big way too. By the end of 2022, I was recording again, not just casually, but intentionally. I built a studio within my own condo that I was sharing with Stephanie at the time. In 2023, I was dropping something new every month. It was, whether it was a single, an album, a project, whatever. I wasn't just creating art, I was living in it. And on the 5th anniversary of my sobriety, July 7, 2023, I would make this remix of All the Stars by Kendrick and SZA. The objective of that piece of art was I was answering a question that I get all the time. How do you stay sober? Or why are you still sober? That answer, that song, came with some consequences. In the song and in the content I was releasing at the time, I said things that I never said out loud. I said I didn't feel like I had friends. I said I felt like I don't have friends who check on me. I said I had nothing but fake friends. In my content at the time, summer 2023, I was revisiting old wounds from summer 2013 and my first year of college with my closest friends, and I addressed it directly. Yeah, some of my closest friends, I hurt their feelings because on the surface, like I said, I get it, right? They thought I was attacking them. I was saying things that were not favorable to their character and wasn't a reflection of who they are today or the way they treat me today. Sobriety didn't just give me clarity, it gave me permission to stop shrinking myself. I am an artist. I did not carry myself that way for a long time. And it wasn't until July 2023 where I started opening up to the idea of, hey, I'm not just a guy who makes songs that sound cool. I am a guy who's an artist and expresses his feelings, and I do them honestly. I'm not going to lie. But I never told people around me that, because growing up, I was always afraid of rejection and being misunderstood. So when they finally heard the truth, they're just like, what? It probably felt like betrayal instead of a bridge, instead of understanding. I wasn't lashing out. I was like finally carrying myself like an artist. I wasn't making art to protect other people's feelings, not even my own. I was making it to express myself in a way that I know a lot of people out there are too afraid to do. And in doing that, I started to see the ripple effect of what happens when you stop performing and start telling the truth. You can hurt people that you actually love and care about. I didn't want to hurt their feelings, but I did that. And that's my own fault. Back then, back in the drinking days, silence terrified me, because silence meant no one was coming, no one was listening, no one was stepping in, no one was choosing me. So I would fill in the silence with jokes, with noise, with alcohol. I drank until I couldn't hear myself think anymore. But sobriety doesn't just return the silence, it amplifies it. And in 2023, when I finally started telling my truth, that silence hit again. But this time I didn't run from it. I didn't try to drink it away. I stood in the silence. I reflected. I lost friends. I rattled people I loved. I hurt people I loved. But I told the truth. That was more important than protecting my own feelings. Because art isn't something that is supposed to make everyone feel comfortable. Sometimes it makes the artist finally feel alive. It makes the people who consume the art finally feel alive.